I've known about Joe Milton since he was a junior in high school. The kid is talented and he has all the attributes, but there's no need to like stir up any drama there, in my opinion, between those two guys.
You just tried too.
I didn't try. I'm just trying to address it with the chief national reporter of the NFL Network. Yo, I'm Robert Griffin III, and this is RG3 and The Ones, a Wave Sports and Entertainment original presented by PrizePicks. Listen, guys, on this show, we're going to be talking to the most interesting people and accomplished people in the world. So if you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, I don't know what you're waiting for. Just know that every single week, we're going to be dropping new episodes. And if you follow us on social media at RG3 and The Ones, we'll provide you with those daily clips to keep you rolling, to know what's going on in this world while you're living in that one out there. Also, you can get us wherever you hear your podcasts. Just look up RG3 and The Ones. We'll be right there with you. I'm just the one who thinks that the perfect time to start JJ McCarthy for the Minnesota Vikings is week 7. But we'll get a little more into that as this show continues. All right, guys, coming up on this episode, I'm talking to the one who is the NFL Network's chief national reporter, the one who broke the Colin Kaepernick story, the legendary one and only Steve Wyche. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Man, I got to bring you along as my hype man wherever I go. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on, Robert.
No problem at all. And you know, we're honored that you're gracing us with your presence. So we want to go ahead and on this show, we'd like to just jump right into the heavy hitting questions early on. You cool with that?
Let's do it, man.
All right. All right. So the first question I have for you is, who had the best NFL schedule release of the NFL teams?
In terms of like the social media groups, like who released it, or
like who had the best social media video, and why was it the Chargers?
Man, I was about to say the Chargers, man. They're so creative. I mean, it's hard to go against them. You know, the Titans are really good too with what they do when they go down on Broadway and they ask people. It wasn't as good as 2023, but it's good this year. But the Chargers, man, like they're just so slick with how they throw shade. You know, they'll have just like a phantom, you know, character. Like this year, they said they had to play the Raiders. They had the Pop-Tart thing out there on a stack of garbage. I'm like, oh my! I mean, that was a not so subtle shot at the rival. But I mean, they'll have like a little image in the corner of something. You really have to like slow things down and look at. And you're like, ooh, I wish I would have thought of that. But they do it over and over. So the Chargers team is really good. But I love how more and more teams are getting in on it. What is it? Was the Falcons? The Falcons did one too off of an
NFL Street. Yep.
NFL Street. That was very creative. I love that. I think 2 teams used one where they had like a compressor, like smashing. I think the Chiefs and someone else smashing like images of the other of the opponent. So I love it, man. I mean, that's really good. You're getting creative. You're getting traction. You're getting Robert Griffin III to talk about it on his podcast.
No, it was incredible. Like, and you talk about the Chargers social team. You just got to give them a huge shout out because they're absolutely incredible with the concept. And the concept this year was the Sims. And I mean, nobody was safe. I mean, they took shots at Aaron Rodgers and his conspiracy theories, Taylor Swift. They were going after everybody.
Dude, they killed Aaron Rodgers. And I was like, that was good. But what the Chiefs? Whoa. The Chief shade.
Oh, yes.
You know, how they got their kicker?
Oh, my gosh.
In the kitchen?
Yes. Cooking in the kitchen. They fried him. Yes, they sauteed him.
You know, here's a good one. What about the Dolphins this year where they had Tyreek Hill and Raheem Mostert and all the speed and the Titans and then all of a sudden their schedule's released and it's gone. Like, that was perfect, all the speed. Like, it was great. Like, a lot of people are like, I don't get it. Like, oh, wait, no, okay. It was good.
They're the fastest show on surf. You know what I'm saying? So,
like, absolutely.
I got a team for you that I think does become the butt of a lot of jokes in the NFL just recently because of their name, and it's the Washington Commanders. And the Eagles actually took a shot at them and said that the logo looks like a taco holder. And it hurt me because it does look like a taco holder. It really does. It's amazing. What do you think, since you're the NFL Network's chief national reporter?
Yeah.
All of this conversation, you're huge. It's unbelievable. Like the title matters. Okay. Of all this commotion about the Commanders, do you think that there's any chance that they go back to their old name?
No, I don't. I think after going through the original name and then going to the Washington Football Club or Washington Football Team, I think they're going to give this one a chance. I've actually spoken to some people and asked them about it. They're like, no, we're here. This is what we're rocking with. We're gonna let it stew for a little bit. We're not gonna continue to flip it because no one's ever gonna be happy with everything, and some people are gonna be happy with some of the things. So they're gonna let this simmer and people get used to it.
Yes. So there you go, Washington Commander fans. There you go. Name's not going anywhere. We just got to move along, get that conversation out of the Twitter sphere or X, whatever you want to call it. Another question I have, because we were talking just recently about how Harrison Butker got sauteed in the kitchen by the Chargers social team. Now, there's some people out there, Steve, who are trying to compare it to Colin Kaepernick and his situation with taking a knee and not getting an opportunity to play in the NFL anymore. Since you broke that Kaepernick story, what would you tell the people who are trying to connect those dots and make them one and the same between Harrison Butker and Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah, I have a real hard time with that because, look, Colin Kaepernick, whether you liked it or didn't like it, he took a stand at a football stadium as a quarterback in uniform. Yeah. He actually took a seat against, police brutality, against injustices in the justice system and things like that. Whereas Harrison Butker, again, he took a religious stand at a graduation ceremony and said some things some people would probably align with and some things people would disagree with. Right. That part I can see in terms of Kaepernick. Some people align with what Cap did. Some people clearly disagreed with what Cap did. But I can't put those two on the same plane because in 2016 when Colin Kaepernick did that, we saw over and over on video unarmed black people getting shot by police. And to compare that to some of the biblical and religious equations, whether you consider them misogynistic or whatever, I think that's a little off the rails. Again, I just think it's a stretch. I can see where people might want to try to do that. I'm just not one of those who will. Yeah,
I mean, I agree with you. I don't think they're comparable at all. Colin Kaepernick was fighting for social injustice, right? To get things right. Correct. Harrison Butker is literally just, stating his religious beliefs. And I just want to, be clear because it seems like anytime there's one of these polarizing topics, like something happens, like you're either on one side or you're on the other. And it's like, that's just not how the world works. And I feel like with Harrison Butker, for him to say how he felt, that he's more within than in his rights to have free speech and say whatever he wants to and whatever's on his heart. We all don't have to agree with it. Right. And I've steered clear of the topic, for a while, but, in talking to my own wife, it's just like, there's a difference between what you're trying to say and what you actually say. And I can't pontificate on what Harrison Butker was trying to say, but I know that what he did say was him as a man thinking what women should think. And that was his biggest mistake. You can't ever put yourself in that position, at least in my opinion. What's your thoughts on that? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it. I was raised by my mother, right? I saw some of the things she had to do as a woman to raise me as her oldest son. I have an older sister and a younger brother, but I'm never, ever going to try to put get in the shoes of a woman. Yep. I've been married for more than 30 years and my wife is a strong, independent woman. And I am never going to try to walk a mile in her shoes. Right. I would never do that. I could never compare myself to what women go through. And I just would not do that. I would try to understand and be empathetic to the best of my ability to certain things. And of course, supportive of everything, but I'm not going to tell her what to think. And by the way, Robert, you're married. If we tell our wives what to think, you know. Listen, and Steve, I agree with that point of view because I am a husband, but I'm also a girl dad of 4. And raising our daughters, we always tell them, like, you can be whatever you want to be, right? You can be a CEO, a doctor, a lawyer, a professional athlete, whatever it may be, if you work for it. And if you want to be, not having this conversation with them right now because they're, 9, 6, 4, and 1. But if at some point it's like, hey, if you raise them and teach them, if they want to be a mother and a homemaker and they want to be a wife, they can do all of those things at the same time. And that's one thing that to me has gotten lost in the conversation. It's just been one side or the other. You're either for this and all of this or against this and all of that. This one particular thing that he said that caused this wave, and I mean, even his jersey started selling out, has been crazy to me. Why do you think that people gravitate towards polarizing figures?
I mean, that is what it is. I mean, look, let's think about, athletics, right? Who are some of those polarizing people we've seen in our generation? Colin Kaepernick, Brett Favre,
right,
Terrell Owens, Michael Vick. Let's say with Harrison Butker, right? Some of the things he said, besides some of the things he said about women, he also spoke out in some things that could be that could be construed as anti-LGBTQ, right? He could be, he said some things that I thought were, if I'm remember correctly, against President Biden and some of that administration. So we know how polarizing politics are. We know how polarizing gender situations can be, how religion can be. So again, that's why people in this world, when I grew up, look, I graduated high school before you were born, probably. But I mean, we could have conversations, right? We didn't have all of these social media things telling us how to think. Let's get likes. Let's feel this way, and this and that. It was, let's have a conversation. You hear my side, I hear your side. Let's see if maybe we can continue to disagree, or at least can understand a little bit where you're coming from. Whereas now, it is crazy how it is just one extreme to the other extreme.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the middle ground, then you're a sellout or something like that. So it's a really weird time. I think a lot of it is driven just by the excess amount of media, whether social media, television media, digital media that we have surrounding us to make us feel good if we lay in one area, or make us feel hated if we go towards the other.
Correct. Man, you couldn't have said it any more perfect, because the people that reside in those places on the far left and the far right, they're the most loud and they're the most active. And like you said, you get that likes and hey man, I got 500 likes on that post. Maybe I should post more stuff like that. And it's like, you can't do that. You got to be true to who you are. And I just think we're such complicated people. It's the easy road to just take and just jump on one side or the other and agree with everything one person says or disagree with everything that somebody else says. But you talked about that explosion of social media and how people are gathering their news. Since you broke the Kaepernick story, do you think that he knew he was going to be sacrificing his career when he took that knee?
That's a great question, because I think Cap was about 28, 29 years old then. Remember, he was trying to get his career back. The Niners, and not everyone's just, Colin Kaepernick's career, he crapped out. The whole team did. They were terrible. After Jim Harbaugh left, they went through 3 or 4. I mean, you remember, they're great players. Frank Gore, a lot of really good players still on those teams. And do I think he knew his career would be over? I don't think he figured he would be shut out of the league like he was. I think he figured he'd be willing to sacrifice it. Right. Like, if it happened, he knew he stood up for what he believed in. But in my heart of hearts, and again, I hate speaking for Cap on this, I just don't know. I still don't think he felt that 31 other football teams would not give him a shot, especially based on the state of the quarterback play with some of these organizations.
Right. No, that makes sense. I don't think any of us felt that he was sacrificing his career at that point when he took that knee.
Not at all.
And I don't know. Do you think that he's actually what he set out to accomplish? Do you think that it has been accomplished through the social injustice and social justice measures that different leagues have been taking since he took that knee? Do you think it's really gotten that much better, or do you think that there's still a lot of work to do?
Well, it's kind of all of them. Look, what he set out to accomplish was to stop police brutality, certain injustices in the judicial system, things like that. So we know those are still flawed, right? We know, and there's probably no perfect out with that, but we know there's still unarmed people getting shot by law enforcement. We know that there are still certain laws that keep people imprisoned because maybe they can't afford bail, or once they are paroled, they go back because they can't afford to pay the 15 different types of stipulations because they can't employ because they're felons X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So there are certain things, absolutely, that it is a hard no. He did not get what he has sought out to do, which is why he's still fighting through his Know Your Rights Foundation and things like that to make change, to make people aware.
Right.
At the same time, let me backtrack real quick too. Cap didn't want necessarily a bunch of people to follow him.
Okay.
I asked him on that day when he sat down, that third preseason game against the Packers, is this something you hope your teammates and other people pick up? He's like, I'm doing this for me. If other people want to do that, that's fine. But I believe in this. So this is a stance I am taking. Now, as you know, a little while later, his teammates Eli Harold and Eric Reed also decided to take knees with him during the game. So they joined him in this. But I mean, and then things have changed. I mean, you've seen other leagues do things. People will say, well, all they're doing is they're painting end zones and they're putting pins on people and things like that. But at the same time, there are hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent on judicial programs, on youth programs, on literacy programs. I mean, there are so many players now who are so much more engaged in things like the digital divide to make sure those who don't have laptops or Wi-Fi to be able to do their homework have stepped in, especially in underserved areas. So I think he's heightened awareness among young people, among a lot of his athletic comrades. And especially, I think it was so unfortunate, but after George Floyd, how many people kind of stepped back and said maybe Cap was right. Right. Especially with the juxtaposition of him taking a knee and Derek Chauvin taking a knee on George Floyd. So,
Oh yeah.
The awareness and everything is absolutely been heightened. But I think his mission, in all sincerity, was to stop the police brutality and, again, some of the inequities in the judicial system.
No, I mean, the way you just laid that out was perfect. Talking about everything that Cap intended to do, what has come to pass. And there's no better person to talk about that than you, because you're the one that was the most close to that story. So I appreciate you sharing that information with us. RG3 and The Ones are presented by PrizePicks. Testing my skills on PrizePicks this basketball season and past football season is the most simple way to get in the action. You just got to select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and submit your lineup. There's quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 fantasy sports app. I made my first $10 deposit and received an instant $10 bonus. If you have the skills, and we all know that I got the skills, you can play for a shot at turning your $10 into $1,000. Playoff time is your time to join the PrizePicks community of over 5 million members who have already downloaded the app. And you guys get this. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia, right? Kickoff might be a long ways out, but you can already pick more or less on 2024 season stats on PrizePicks. Season totals for passing yards, receiving touchdowns, sacks, you name it, we got it. So let's get into some early football picks this week. And this week on PrizePicks, I have selected Stephon Diggs to have more than 7.5 receiving touchdowns. Why? He's going into another contract year after he reworked his contract with the Houston Texans. And also, he wants to show that he was the reason for the season there in Buffalo and that he could be successful without Josh Allen. I'm also going to select Calvin Ridley to have more than 5.5 receiving touchdowns. Why? He's coming over from the Jacksonville Jaguars, his first year removed from a suspension. Now he's going to be there with the Tennessee Titans and be a feature receiver with another guy away from him in DeAndre Hopkins who can take coverage away. So those are my picks. Daily Fantasy Sports is made easy with PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code RG3 for a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, download the app today, use code RG3 for a first deposit match of up to $100. You talk about guys trying to make a difference, trying to set themselves apart. Well, that happens off the field, but it also happens off the field in the marketing area. So yeah. As you know, Fanatics had a brunch with Tom Brady, Jay-Z, Caleb Williams, Drake May's there, Jaden Daniels. But Marvin Harrison Jr. was not there. He was not there because Fanatics sued him over a breach of contract dispute. And the question I have about that is, do you have any information that we should know on background of what's going on with the Fanatics and Marvin Harrison Jr. camp?
I nothing more than what's been out there in the public for him other than they believe that they have a signed autograph agreement or merchandise agreement with him. And he's saying that, no, he doesn't. He hasn't signed any licensing deals.
Okay.
Well, that's all I know, but I don't have any detailed insight as to what's going on right there. It is an interesting tack that Fanatics is taking.
Right.
But we'll see. Marvin Harrison hasn't signed that NFLPA licensing deal yet. So, usually most people don't turn down a job if they've got a job on the side. But he might be coming through with a breakthrough that none of us know about. We're all kind of like, okay, I get it a little bit later on.
Okay, so we've seen other players do this in other leagues. Obviously Randall Cunningham did it in the NFL and Michael Jordan did it. Do you think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is playing it smart by holding out from signing that NFLPA contract? I can't answer. He's got his reasons. I mean, that's all I know. He has his reasons to do that. So we'll see, because we know those licensing deals, man. You get money. Players get extra money from video games and merch sales and anything with their likeness on it. So unless that doesn't matter to him or he has other things he's working on that can compensate for those potential losses, we'll see. But to sit here and say he's playing smarter, I just don't know. Yeah, but I think you do know, and you've mentioned that his dad represents him. The legendary Marvin Harrison played for the Colts with Peyton Manning, a Hall of Famer. And do you think like his dad seeing how maybe some guys got taken advantage of, got screwed out of money, has led to some of the decisions that he's making now, and kind of not like having his son be a representative of maybe what could be in the future and doing on the betterment of everybody else? Because when I look at the way that they pay players like you're talking about, a Madden check could be $25,000 to $40,000 and it's just free money. And they're just like, yeah, we're going to put you on the game. And if you don't sign this licensing deal, you're not going to be on the game. You're not going to get that free money. But do you think that his dad is maybe navigating this for him, or do you think it's Junior's call all the way around?
I really don't know. I have the utmost respect for Marvin Harrison Sr. Very smart guy. As you know, he was a very quiet guy. He definitely marched to the beat of his own drum. Right. Maybe his son is like that. I mean, he grew up with those traits, right? Maybe his son didn't perform in any of the postseason workouts and anything like that. So he's like, I'm going to do things my way. The way Marvin did things his way. And you asked if maybe Marvin saw some things of players getting taken advantage of. Of course he did. Yeah. He played in the league for a long time. He has seen a lot of things in his life. So I'm sure he's giving him some advice. Is he guiding him on this? I have no clue. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, because normally you don't see players do these types of tactics. It's happened before, but you don't see it all the time. The majority certainly don't. And it's also interesting because you never really see a league sponsor just openly sue a player, especially a young rookie, first round pick, high draft pick. Typically, they like to stay out of the spotlight when it comes to those players. What does that anything like give you any inkling of what maybe their thought process is in suing a player openly in court? I think they're probably doing this like we saw a lot of things when the NIL stuff started coming into the NCAA. They're doing it so other people don't do it. Gotcha. A lot of times when moves like this are made is so, okay, wow, we let this guy get away with it. The next year there's going to be 10. The next year there's going to be 20. Then there's going to be 100. And then we're out of the game. So that's my thinking. This is more of a preemptive strike to prevent future, I won't say defections, but future abstinations. Right. To stop this from happening. Makes sense. So, now OTAs is like kicking off. Teams are getting out there, obviously with no pads on, but it's the short and shirt Olympics. Everyone's out there throwing the ball around, and fans are getting excited. Teams are getting to get a feel for who their guys are and who's going to be able to help them this year. But one conversation that everyone keeps bringing to my attention that I don't think is the same as my situation with Kirk Cousins in Washington is Drake Maye and Joe Milton with the New England Patriots. Have you heard anything about there ever being a problem with who the guy is in New England when it comes to Drake Maye and Joe Milton being drafted in the same draft class? No, because, and here's why it's a big difference from your situation, Kirk Cousins in Washington, right? There's Jacoby Brissett, the veteran in New England.
Right.
Joe Milton, at the best, is going to be the number 3 quarterback, right? Whether they open the season with Jacoby Brissett as a starter or with Drake Maye as a starter, with Jacoby Brissett backing him up, that is the dynamic. Yeah. Now, Joe Milton, like you just talked about, right? It's off season. It's the shorts and the jerseys thing. He's got the magic bazooka of an arm. We saw the talent with him in the full season as a starter at Tennessee. Remember, he didn't win the starting job at Michigan, which is why he transferred. When he got hurt, Herndon Hooker took over his job at Tennessee and was that dude until he got hurt. So Joe Milton, first off, has to establish himself as an NFL player, right? And let's say he does. Again, we talked about the dynamic of whether Drake Maye, Jacoby Brissett, Drake Maye. One way or the other, Drake Maye is going to finish the season as the starter, unless he gets injured, right? If he stays healthy. Let's say Joe Milton shows some stuff in preseason. He generates some stuff. It's where next preseason they can go out there and showcase. Maybe they can trade him for assets. Remember who the GM is in New England. It's Elliott Wolf. His father, the Hall of Fame executive, Ron Wolf, used to do this all the time with the Packers. He would draft a quarterback, whether they had Brett Favre there or whomever, showcase that person in preseason, and then 2 years later be able to trade him for a 3rd or 4th round pick. So again, there's some of that thinking right there. This is not a competition. This is not a threat. Again, Joe Milton's going to be on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, throwing these great 70-yard balls. But right now, he's a developmental player behind Drake Maye and Jacoby Brissett.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate you clearing that up. I've been pretty adamant that I don't think that it's a conversation. And this is coming from a guy I've known about Joe Milton since he was a junior in high school. So I've seen him throw the
incredible talent.
Oh my gosh, incredible talent. We did a workout together. The man threw the leather off the football. Yeah. So I understand the kid is talented and he has all the attributes, but there's no need to like stir up any drama there, in my opinion, between those two guys.
You just tried to.
I didn't try. I'm just trying to address it with the chief national reporter of the NFL Network. That's what I'm trying to accomplish here.
There we go.
All right. So speaking of contracts, do you have any developments on Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins?
All I've heard with Tua, and I've heard this for a while, is that they're continuing to work on it. Okay. Here's the thing. The more they continue to work on it, the more contracts like you might see that Jared Goff just got, right? Okay. So Jared Goff just signed that deal. It's averaging, I want to say, about $53 million a year.
Correct.
Got 74 million. What's my number out of the gate to sign? Ooh. Right. So the longer you wait, the more these contracts come up. Now, I think with Tua, a deal is going to get done, but it's going to be dependent on the structure.
Okay.
Is he going to get that much guaranteed in the first 2 years? Let's say $73 million. Okay. Is he going to have an out after 2 years in case something doesn't work, or is it going to be security for a 3rd year? You see how their structure work. Like a lot of these guys, like the day after the league year ends, like right after, right before free agency, their contract kicks in. The guaranteed, $60 million after that, something like that. So I'm guessing they're just going to have to work through something like that. But I think a deal does get done before the season starts when it comes to Tua. They've got his 5th-year option.
Yep.
I've heard nothing to make me think that it doesn't get done unless his side is just asking for a structure where the Dolphins are simply like, we can't do that right now.
Okay. No, I think that Tua has earned his money. I think it's a little bit of what else can you do? Like, who else is out there that you're going to go grab that's going to be a better player for you than Tua Tagovailoa with the weapons that you have and the chemistry that you have on the team? And that's kind of just where it all is. I just feel like he has earned it, though. He showed them that he could be healthy. You
just said something, and it's the predicament, if you will, that general managers are in when they're doing this.
Right.
Do I not sign this guy and let him go, and then all of a sudden we have a black hole at quarterback? You see how difficult it is to replace quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yep.
Right? Dallas is flirting with that with Dak Prescott right now after the season.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So do we want to let Dak walk and start all over again? Because that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Good quarterbacks don't become available in free agency or via trade. That's right. True. You're going to have to draft and develop. And if you're Miami this year, you might be picking 27th. You're not going to be able to get up there to get that next young great one. So that's another reason why I'm glad you pointed out.
Yeah.
then I think Tua gets done.
Nah, 100%. And Steve, this is why I wanted you on the show. We wanted you on the show because you know how to, present things the right way. You know how to respect people with your answers, but also give people something, to chew on with the material that you're providing. I say all that not just because you're here, right? I've always had a massive amount of respect for who you are and how you present the sport. But we had a situation last weekend with Scottie Scheffler there in golf. And I came away from the entire situation thinking from a media side that Jeff Darlington, Michael Collins, and a lot of the people who were involved covering the story showed us why you need the right people covering the right stories at the right time. And they were a shining light, in my opinion, to journalism, handling things with care, with professionalism, and with the right tone in a situation that is very, very weird and extreme. I thought they did a phenomenal job. What did you think?
It was spectacular, especially early on, with Jeff Darlington, who I don't know if it was an ESPN camera or Jeff on his phone, actually with the footage, recording the footage of Scheffler getting arrested and getting content from police like that. Right now, he's going to jail, blah, blah, blah. But you have to handle the situation. This is where experience really comes into play with journalism, because even though we cover sports, a lot of times we're involved in legal proceedings. We're involved in, dealing with arrest and things like this. And, let's not forget that everything was set in motion by a traffic accident that resulted in a person losing his life.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where you talk about tone. That's where you talk about putting things in perspective, right? There wouldn't have been a traffic jam, the need for police out there guiding traffic had there not been this accident.
Right.
So Jeff took all of that into play. He got the legal side of things in terms of, the police officer saying that he was trying to stop Scottie Scheffler. Scheffler didn't obey the rules, and now he's going to jail. While also putting into context, people are tuning in to watch the golf tournament.
Right.
Think, is he going to be able to come and tee off on time? Yeah. He's the number one player in the world.
No doubt.
Is something like this going to absolutely disrupt the whole domino of this tournament? Because if he can't play, somebody moves in. That's going to affect the tee off. There's so many. But Jeff not, and the reporting it not being over the top.
Yeah.
Excited or over the top this or putting too much emphasis on it. It went to show kind of, again, the tact and the brilliance of the whole operation, which we saw on the crazy night of when DeMar Hamlin had the heart issue. Hey, man, nobody is expecting this.
Yeah.
Right? And the decisions that were made by ESPN, maybe not to show the medics resuscitating him, to only show the replay of him falling down once, to the tone that Lisa Salters took, being the eyewitness there on the field, to Troy and Buck, and the, calling the game, to Adam Schefter doing the news, to, Booger McFarland giving perspective, where you're taught you have nothing live, no updates, and you've got to talk about this because all of us were like, oh my gosh, is he dying? That is where the experience, and that is where good guidance and good leadership and in developing journalistic principles comes into play. And again, going back to the Scottie Scheffler situation, that was on full display because that was instantaneous. It was a disruptive moment. Nobody was expecting it. And the poise and composure, that's what differentiates Jeff Darlington and certain people from the rest of the crowd.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I was just watching it unfold. And Steve, I happened to be on TV while it was happening. So I'm on Get Up, the Get Up that he references in his speech after the round. I was on that show with Mike Greenberg and Jeff Darlington and the crew. And I had a front row seat because, when these things happen, they cut the segments down and they follow the story. I had a front row seat to see just how professional it was attacked, how it was the viewer was informed, and the tone. To me, it was a masterpiece. And it was. Were you able?
Let's take people behind the scenes here. Were you able in your ear to hear the directors and the producers kind of giving the guidance, because you being able to understand that and see that traffic copping, so to speak, maybe a bad comparison, but to see that or hear that and to really understand it is another thing we have to do in this medium, which helps us grow on how to do things better in situations like this.
Correct. And it's guys like yourself and Mike Greenberg for me, they're already ESPN that help with like understanding what to attack and how to attack a certain thing so that you can be the best for the viewer, not just the best for yourself. So I thought it was amazing. I wanted to talk with you about it because I saw you put out a tweet, saying how, proud those types of moments make real journalists, guys like yourself who have been in the industry and grinded to get to where you're at. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. And one other thing I noticed in your background is that you had a little bit of carryover with a guy by the name of Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, in the DMV. A couple of years that you were there, he was there with the Commanders and also there with the Baltimore Ravens when he came back out of retirement. And you're also heavily involved in the HBCU scene, having gone to Howard. My cousin went to Howard. Obviously, I played in Washington, D.C. With the Commanders. When you see that the impact that Deion had on HBCUs, do you feel like people were wrong for being mad at him for leaving?
That is a very tough question because you understand why they were mad because he brought so much attention. Look, there have been some great former NFL players, Hall of Famers like Ken Riley, who've come back to coach at Florida A&M. Doug Williams, when he coached at Morehouse in Grambling. Todd Bowles was with him at Grambling. I mean, there's so many coaches who've done this, but none of them had the profile, right? The charisma and the marketability of Deion.
Yeah.
So when he came to Jackson State, the school that's produced, Walter Payton and Jackie Slater and Robert Brazile, 3 football Hall of Famers who were on the team at the same time, by the way, at Jackson State. When he goes there, he gets all these kids wanting to come to Jackson, Mississippi. When he gets this town all of a sudden crazy, he gets all this media attention, and then he dips. People are like, what? I thought you were with us forever. Well, Deion, and a lot of people make me feel like you want to keep me here forever.
Exactly.
Which a lot of times is pay me, which is a lot of times do the things that you need me to do. Support me in ways that I'm not feeling supported.
Do you think that Jackson State should have paid Deion more to stay?
They might not have been able to. I mean, this is one thing. Look, Jackson State, it's a state university, state of Mississippi. They might not have had the funds dedicated to academia, especially that particular university that they're giving to Ole Miss, that they're giving to Mississippi State. Whereas Colorado said, we've got the money. We'll give it to you. We'll let you bring your brand here. We'll let you showcase. We'll let you bring your swagger here. Well, we don't have that type of swagger in Boulder usually, right?
Right.
But we'll do all that for you. And so Deion was like, I got to go. And some people are like, well, you just use us as a stepping stone. How many other coaches haven't you? They've done it at Nebraska. They've done it all these where they've used it as a stepping stone. Right. You don't hear people. Lane Kiffin's coached at 8 different schools. You don't hear people killing Lane or using him as a stepping stone. Right. So again, I think it hurt because initially, someone like Deion's going to invest in Jackson State. He's going to bring Travis Hunter here. He's going to bring his kids here. He's going to bring NFL scouts here.
Right.
And then he left. He just used us. I mean, so you can see that to some degree, but you also have to understand this is how it goes.
Right.
Again, it happens in our occupation, a lot of different occupations. It happens at Power 5 schools. That's just how it goes.
I know that you saying that they might not have had the funds. I know that's been a massive issue as far as in why HBCU institutions have been underfunded or underinvested in. And that's why they're not able to go out there and support a guy like Deion, who does end up growing his profile even more than it already was, which is astonishing. And doing that through an HBCU. So I completely understand that part of it. So then the question would be, how do you fix that issue for HBCUs?
That has been one of the biggest ongoing questions, especially when it comes to athletics, because different universities handle their athletic budgets differently, right? If, say, somebody wants to make a $10 million donation to the football program at Jackson State or Grambling or Howard or Bethune-Cookman, right?
Right.
Well, the athletic department says we don't earmark it for specific sports. We earmark it for our whole athletic department. So that $10 million, the football program might get 1.5, but the other 8.5 goes to support women's basketball and things like that because they're the non-revenue generating sports.
Right.
So a lot of other times, okay, that goes into a general scholarship fund for other students in different parts of the university. Another thing to take into account is a lot of these HBCUs are not your 35,000 enrolled, universities where you've got 10,000 graduates every year. Even if they're each of those graduates, those alumni are giving back $100 each, you've got this magnificent pool of funds.
Correct.
I mean, a lot of these schools are 2,500, 3,500, 4,500 students. I went to Howard. We're at about 8,000 undergrads, and Howard is a brand.
Yes,
Howard is a brand. Everybody knows what Howard is.
Yes, they do.
Right. But even still, it's underfunded. Or people say we'd rather give to the fine arts community, which produces Chadwick Boseman and people like that, as opposed to the athletic programs. So that's always been a difficult choice. Even when Doug Williams, the greatest of heroes at Grambling University, went back to coach there, it was hard for him to raise funds to get the proper things he needed for a football program.
No, I mean, the way you just broke that down, I think everybody needs to listen to. And I know that you're heavily invested in the space. And my first game ever in the booth was an HBCU game. It was the Cricket MEAC-SWAC Challenge.
There was.
Between Alcorn State and North Carolina Central. And I didn't go to an HBCU. I honestly probably went to the complete opposite of an HBCU, going to Baylor University. But I always looked at the fact that that was my first game in the booth and my introduction to the broadcasting side and the media side of football and sports and entertainment. I always took pride in that, and to be able to see how the coverage of the sport surged under Deion. I just hope that it continues now that he has gone, because he took that wave with him over to Colorado. I hope that we just continue to invest money and resources into the coverage of HBCUs. And I know that has been going on. So, well,
it's been going on, but not like it did when Deion was there. And that was always my big question. Deion leaves. Are all of these people who say they're committed to HBCUs, whether it's through media coverage, whether it's through funding, are they going to leave with him, or are they going to stick out their supposed commitment to HBCUs? Well, I think we've gotten our answers in a lot of ways with that.
No, I agree with that. And that's why I brought it up, because you want to implore them to continue to ramp that back up, because it's important. And those kids need to be seen. There's talent there that needs to be discovered. Before you bounce, I got 3 quick ones for you. And these are about your time in DC covering Michael Jordan. Now, you're the football guy, but not everybody knows that you're also a little bit of the basketball guy, right?
That wasn't the last dance. I was part of the final dance.
There you go. The final dance. So question number 1, do you think, can you tell us your craziest story covering Jordan when he came back for that last ride?
Wow. The craziest story. I think the craziest story was I never understood how big of a superstar is until I got around him. He's the guy who got NBA writers going to shoot-arounds. Right. Normally, we would kind of show up because shoot-arounds, they'd shoot around and you'd go. But when he went to Chicago, all the Chicago media went to the shoot-around because it was a one time to get him one-on-one. You go to Denver, they'd go to the shoot-around. So he changed how the sport was covered when he left Chicago.
Wow.
Right. It was because what is this dude doing in Washington? No one cares about the Wizards. And so that was, there were a million crazy stories from the drafting of Kwame Brown to things like that. Here's one. Best one. Myself, Rachel Nichols, and J.A. Adande were at a Wizards practice when they were in Oakland, when they were getting ready to play the Warriors. In the weight room afterwards, MJ, Patrick Ewing, who was an assistant coach, and Chris Mullen, who was an executive with the Warriors, 3 original Dream Team members, bring us into the weight room, just us 3. We sat there for about 90 minutes, and they're talking about everything from their past to whether they preferred Carmelo coming out of Syracuse or LeBron coming out of high school.
Wow.
And the conversations around that, I'll never forget. It was one of the greatest things I've ever experienced.
Wow. Okay.
And by the way, MJ said he loved Carmelo, but he knew LeBron would do anything at any time in any way to be the best.
Okay.
We've seen it.
We have seen it for sure. LeBron is the best all-around basketball player we've ever seen. Second question.
MJ was.
Okay. Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, Steve.
Yes, he is.
But LeBron is the best all-around player we've ever seen. See how I did that? All right.
I did.
You see how I did that? You see how I did
okay, that was slick.
Thank you. I was a like Mike kid. Come on, I grew up on Jordan. I'm never going to go against Jordan. But second question would be, you covered Jordan, and now you're seeing a guy who doesn't like being compared to him, but reminds us all of him and Anthony Edwards. Do you think that Anthony Edwards is the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan since he retired?
Yeah, I actually see more of Kobe's game in Ant-Man. Like when Ant-Man is backing dudes down like MJ, right? Take him down, lowering the post and hitting the mid-range game. You see that. But MJ, Ant-Man's got more of an outside game and his handle's a little different than MJ. When MJ controlled the ball, like bringing it up the court, it was different the way defenses were played back then. Remember when MJ was playing in his prime, scores of games were like 88 to 82.
That's true.
It was tackle football, man. It was rugby.
That's true. That's true.
So I Kobe to me was the closest thing to MJ. And okay. When I watch their games, I think Anthony Edwards' game is more like Kobe's than MJ. But you see, because the thickness of Anthony Edwards' body and everything resembles more MJ.
Okay. All right. I can understand that. Third question would be more NBA in general. All right. The last American to win the MVP award in the NBA was 2018 with James Harden. Since then, it's been Giannis back-to-back, Jokic back-to-back. I believe then it was Embiid and then Jokic again. So do you think that American basketball players are starting to take a backseat to European players?
It's hard because you're talking about a one, I think overall it's because there's more American players who are talented. Yep. I would have to say no, but when it comes to MVP, I'm not arguing with any of those guys who won the MVP.
Right.
They deserved it. I mean, Joker, come on. He's the dude.
Yeah.
Right? So, but now you're seeing an Anthony Edwards. You're seeing shy hyphen name.
I got you.
Right. You're seeing dudes who are spectacular, but now are they going to continue to grow? Because look at how Joker's game grows. Look at how Giannis's game grows to where they're just absolutely unstoppable. Right. Because my thing is this. If they do it, they better do it in a hurry, because Wemby from France is about to be the most dominant player in the NBA. I mean, there's nothing I saw from him that's going to make me think he is not going to be an absolute monster for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. No, I definitely I hear you on that. And I guess it's not just European players, it's players around the world. Right. International players, they're taking over the NBA, and it's been a sight to see. But like you said, we're seeing the Americans try to make a comeback here a little bit. And I'm actually excited to see a new face of the NBA win an NBA championship, with the last four teams being guys that have never won a championship outside of course, Kyrie and some other select players. The stars, Luka, Jason Tatum. I'm going with the Timberwolves. I just believe that if they can win a game 7 with their star player, best player, only scoring 16 points and having an off night and actually pulling him to that victory with Cat and Naz Reid in the gang, I think that shows that when he's on, which I believe he will be for the rest of the playoffs, they'd probably be unstoppable.
I'm with you because I like the Twin Towers. I like the size. Yep. I mean, at some point that becomes disruptive over a 7-game series. And so I like that. I mean, Boston is really freaking good. I think they come out of the East, but I'm with you with the Timberwolves. Yeah, man. So I wanted to be able to showcase people that, we do our research on this show, and you're not just a football guy, but you're an entertainment, a sports guy, and you know it all. And I appreciate you for coming on the show, but also because of what you're doing with your platform and in the HBCU scene. Anytime I can be an asset to you in that, you just let me know and I'll be there for you, brother. Well, much respect to you. When I chime in, I hit you up like I'm proud of you, man. Your growth has been amazing. I love watching the booth. I mean, I know you're great in studio, but in the booth, man, I learn something every snap. So thank you, man. Salute to you and keep on doing your thing, Rob. All right. That means a lot to me. I appreciate you saying that, brother. And we will see each other soon, somewhere on an NFL field or in some broadcast, no doubt about it. There we go. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, people, that's a wrap for episode 36 of RG3 and The Ones. I want to give a huge shout out to Steve Wyche for coming on the show and dropping gems on us the entire time. Hopefully you took one thing from that you can apply to your own life, and you've become one of one in that as well. So, guys, we couldn't have this show or any of it be possible without RG3 and The Ones being a Way Sports and Entertainment original presented by PrizePicks, and certainly not without my producer, Joe, Andrew, or our editors out there making sure everything looks super crisp for you guys. So I want to say a huge shout out to them. Shout out to Whispering Host Productions, also helping make sure all this stuff comes to fruition. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to our YouTube page. Make sure you follow us on social media at RG3 and The Ones. And remember, you can get us wherever you get your podcasts as well. You guys know I like to leave you with something before we go every single time, just a little bit of motivation. So I want you guys to trust God and know that there is no obstacle or challenge in your life that you are facing or will face in the future that is too big for Him to help you overcome. Have faith, put in the work, and everything will go your way.